Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Verbal Teacup. I'm Meenakshi Sharma, and today I brought something new for you. I want to be doing some readings with you because, when I have these students who are preparing for competitive exams, they feel that reading is very difficult. So sometimes I'll come live with you, and sometimes, like today, I'll do a recorded session with you in which I'll be doing a reading with you, a difficult kind of reading of difficult genres meaning different classifications, different topics, and we can discuss those once I have finished the reading, and you will understand how to improve your reading skills. So today I have brought for you, now this is a thing which is there from Hegel. Now, Hegel was supposed to be a philosopher, political philosopher, and Hegel has talked about the subjective turn. So this is from Eon, and you can also read from that link. So this is called as the subjective turn. For Hegel, human nature strives through history to unchain itself from tradition. But what is such inner freedom? Is the inner freedom worth the cost? So let's try to understand what he's talking about. So what is the human being? Now he starts with a question. If anything starts with a question, what do we predict? That obviously the paragraph will give the answer to the question. So let me do some active reading with you. So traditionally, it was thought that human nature was something fixed, either given by God or once and for all. So we thought earlier that human nature was fixed, okay? And it was given by God, and it was like, if you have one nature, you can't change it. Just like animals, the lions are going to kill and the deer is going to run. So, that kind of. So humans occupy a unique place in the creation by virtue of a specific combination of faculties. Here, faculties means the senses of perception, of hearing, of smell, of thought, and all of the other things that we have. So that they alone possess. So we say that the humans have got all of these faculties that we have. I mean, speaking and all, the animals do, they have got a way to express, but they can't speak. And this is what makes us who we are. So this view comes from the school of ancient philosophy, such as Platonism from Plato, who was a Greek philosopher, Aristotelism, who was obviously he was the disciple, he was the student of Plato, and Stoicism, Stoic philosophy, as well as the Christian tradition. So this view that came that human beings have the faculties. Now, more recently, it has been argued there is actually no such thing as human nature, but merely a complex set of behaviors and attitudes that can be interpreted in different ways. So now we come to a new view that human behavior is not it's not fixed. It is a complex set of behavior and attitudes, and it can be, the interpretation can be different. That means we can change our nature and behavior. And for this view, all talk of a fixed human nature is merely a naive means a very simple and innocent and convenient way of discussing human experience, but doesn't ultimately correspond to any external reality. So here we are saying that if we talk about the human nature being fixed, it is just a naive way, a simple way to explain, but that is not the actual reality. And this view can be found in the tradition of existentialism, deconstruction, and different schools of modern philosophy of the mind. Now, what is existentialism and deconstruction theory was given by Derrida. So we will talk about all of these theories also sometime in, the different recordings or live. But today we are focusing on this. And there is a modern philosophy of mind which says that these things, that the human nature is fixed, is actually not true. And there is, however, a third approach that occupies a place between the two, a middle path. Now we talk of two opposing paths and one middle path. And this view might be called as historicism. Historicism claims that there is a meaningful conception of human nature, but it changes over time as human society develops. Now see, this is a very, very important factor. This historicism is talking about that human nature is partially fixed, but it also develops. All right. And it changes over time as the human society develops. And this approach is more commonly associated with the German philosopher Hegel. And he rejects the claim of the first view, that is of the essentials. The first view was that human nature is fixed. And he says that this may or may not be true. He says this, he rejects it. And since he doesn't think that human nature is something which is created once and for all, but he also rejects the second view when he says he doesn't believe in the human nature is just an outdated fiction we have inherited from tradition. So he's, going against the essential view of human nature being fixed. He is going against the traditional view also, that it is just inherited. Instead, instead of this, Hegel is claiming that human nature is meaningful and useful to talk about the reality of some kind of human nature that is understood by an analysis of the human development in history. So he said that we can understand the human mind better if we analyze the development of the human mind in history. And unfortunately, Hegel wrote in a rather inaccessible fashion, means his style of writing was not very clear, maybe, so it was not approachable, it was not accessible, and which has led to many people to dismiss his views as incomprehensible. Incomprehensible means something which cannot be understood, or that it is confused. And his theory of philosophical anthropology. Now, anthropology is the study of human beings, and the philosophical way of study of human beings, which is closely connected to his theory of historical development, has remained in the domain of specialists, and it shouldn't. So here the author is saying that Hegel's theory actually is a good theory, and since it is written in a difficult manner, people dismissed it as very complicated or difficult to understand, and so only the specialists talk about it. But it should not be like that. You and I, normal people, also should know about the Hegel's theory. So with his astonishing wealth of knowledge about history and culture, Hegel analyzes the way in which today we call subjectivity and individuality first arose and developed through time. So he says that something subjective related to a particular thing or something individual related to individuality actually developed through a particular time. And Hegel holds that at the beginning of human history, people didn't conceive themselves. Conceive means think of themselves as individuals in the same way as we do today. So today individualism is more important. Earlier days it was not so important. There was no conception of a unique and special inward sphere that we value so much in our modern day self-image. Now in today's world, in the modern world, we talk about that the self-image is very important. Earlier times, historically, if you see, the self-image was not so important. Instead, the ancient conceived of themselves belonging to a larger group, the family, the tribe, the state. So here, he talks about that in our historical development earlier, we thought that the group, the society, the state was more important, and we are part of that group. As individuals, we are not so important. So our individuality is also not important. This meant that the question of individual freedom or self-determination didn't arise in the way that we are used to understanding them in today's world. So actually, Hegel was ahead of his times when he talks about the individuality and the different concepts. And he says that individuality is as important. But if we study history, we see that that development actually took a very long time. We took a very long time to understand that individuality is as important as collective behavior, as group behavior. And in fact, Hegel said that individuality is more important. So then if you see this, the subjective turn for Hegel, human nature strives through history to unchain itself from tradition. So this is what the passage was about. So what was it? It was how earlier we had different conceptions of human beings and the human nature, considering it fixed. Some people said that we have inherited it through traditions. And then Hegel comes up with an idea that individuality is something which is unique to human beings. It's very important. And through course of history, it has slowly developed. Although now in the modern day, it holds a very important concept. So if you like this discussion, if you like this reading, Please make sure that you subscribe. I'll share the link also of this essay and in my description. And if you want more of these kinds of discussions on the verbal teacup, please tell me in the comment section, and I'll be back with more, definitely. And I'll be taking some live sessions also about this. Thank you very much. And this is Meenakshi saying bye-bye at this point of time from the verbal teacup. Really enjoyed, and take care. God bless.